Good morning. It's Thursday. That means tomorrow is byoq. That's bring your own questions. I'll bring the answers. Jakey Bakey, number one in the house. Andrew, ready there. Good morning. Welcome, Jesse. Welcome, Alex. Welcome. Samir, great to talk to you, my friend. Let's get some questions going. Let's pin up how people can get the exercises, guides, and free books that we've been doing for the free trainings on Friday. If you missed the training, just catch it on Spotify, featured there, on Entrepreneur, featured there. Go ahead, catch it. You can grab it. You can get the exercise guides and books for free. Looking forward to byoq, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. If you want to join me and ask me questions, love to have you there. All you got to do is email me, david@dmeltzer.com, or you can join my text community. And if you want to join my text community, it's 949-298-2905. Welcome. All right, the questions are coming already, warming up for tomorrow. Here we go. This is what it's like. Can you explain primary and secondary fear? So primary fear is fear itself, right? You being afraid. Secondary fears are the need to be right, offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, guilty, frustrated, angry, resentful, all the different things that you identify create interference to or corrosion with the greatest source of power, light, love, and lessons that you're always connected to. And so, that's primary and secondary fear, and getting from there. Let's see here, get a little bit of view there. Anyway, good questions. Keep them coming. If you did not catch Buy Low and Sell High, the Margins of Millionaires, or the 5 to Thrive selling system, or the ultimate ego training, or any of my other trainings, all you have to do is email me, david@dmeltzer.com, and I can get you the exercises and guides from there. You can watch those on Spotify, at the playbook, on Entrepreneur, the playbook. Go ahead, download that. You'll enjoy all the past ones as well. What was your favorite WWF wrestler and why? Hulk Hogan for sure, and I'm old school, so he's a good friend of mine. We actually got to spend the day at Joel Osteen together, and him and his lovely wife. Incredible day. So just personal favorite, the legend himself. I'm old. What can I tell you? Here we go. What are you looking forward to most in the last quarter of the year? I am looking forward most to today. I know it's not the fourth quarter, but just consistent, persistent pursuit of my potential, utilizing the 5 daily habits that get me further, faster, and more accurately. So I am looking forward to empowering more people, to empower more people to be happy, on my way to over 1 billion people. That's my mission. Those are some of the things I'm looking forward to. Alrighty. What does freedom mean to you? Freedom's an emotion. So for me, it's an energy. And so the energy of freedom to me is being able to manifest things rapidly and accurately. That's pure freedom. Do you use any processes such as box diagrams to zoom out and get perspective? I use lists. I use lists to give me perspective. I think lists are a great way to represent the materialization of the imagination. I think it allows you to take the paintings from your mind and put them down on paper. Good questions, by the way. Keep them coming, especially my team that's on here. Never know where Justin is. Go ahead, why don't you reach out if Justin's on here. Alrighty, you've mentioned before that confidence comes from clarity, balance, and focus. Yes? Can you explain? Sure. So by taking inventory of your values and not being afraid of being a hypocrite, your personal values, your experiential values, your giving values, and receiving values, you will know your what. If you know your what, you then can balance your what with the values for that day. It's a weighted balance. You're not going to have a perfect balance of any day. It's a weighted balance. You have your non-negotiables that you make sure that get done within the context of those values. But it's a weighted balance that you effectuate. Justin, I do see you, by the way. That weighted balance then allows you to get focused in on exactly what you want for the day, giving it attention, Then by taking activities, right? Being, inventory of your values, asking and attracting, student your calendar, executing on the student calendar, and appreciating do it now, by and where upon practicing ending fear to keep the connection between you and everything that you're connected to. Not only the source of light, love, and lessons and the great power that you're always connected to, but everything else, the people, places, and things that you're connected to. That is how it's all related together. That's how you have clarity, balance, and focus. What impact did losing it all have on you mentally, and how did you find the strength to start again? Well, strength is found from motivation, not inspiration, right? Motivation is to get up, get back up, get started, get back started. And then I was able to get there by being inspired, by clearing that connection interference. So for me, it was a matter of understanding the primary and secondary fears that I previously mentioned. So clearing that connection, knowing what I am connected to. Anyway, let's go live. I got the CEO of Manifestation, Babe. She's here, and I'm going to grab, let me get on here. Let me find where we're at. I will go. I don't see her request. I know she's here. Where are you? There you are. You're here. There you go. Catherine is here. I'm so excited about this. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I am amazing. How are you?
I'm also amazing. Can you hear me okay?
You sound as beautiful as you are. So there you go. Your soul is blessed through the internet and Instagram. Well, there's one thing I got to see if you can manifest. That's figuring out how they took away my right to get rid of people. Like I can't exit out of people. Remember there used to be an X on my Instagram live. So when this is all done or you get sick of me, you got to manifest yourself and
Okay.
Anyway, you and I both have had struggles and challenges, and I tried most of my life to solve all my challenges and pain through material types of activity, pragmatic, lower vibrating activities. And when I learned the process of possibilities, probabilities, and perspective, the process of manifestation, my entire life changed. And albeit, I still challenge myself to have full faith in it.
Mm-hmm.
Find myself stuck in the pragmatic world where I'm like, just trust it, and like, no, verify it. No, trust it. No,
That is the beauty of being a human being, is that it doesn't matter how enlightened we are in this lifetime. Like we're still going to have those tribulations and challenges where we have no choice but to surrender, and we're constantly learning that surrender because it doesn't come naturally to us as humans. So you and me both.
and we're on that journey practicing it. How
Yes.
did that start for you? People always ask me, what was the one? And I said, there's a few things that happened along the way. What were the few things that happened to you that kind of raised your vibration and awareness to the power that you already had?
Wow. Okay. There's many things in my journey, and if I share everything, we're going to be on here for like 3 hours. But how I discovered the law of attraction, like all in itself, is and the power of the mind and the power of manifestation was actually so random. I swear it's like God, angels, universe just handed it to me because they knew that one day I would grow up and I would be helping other people with this too. I was at my friend's house back in high school when I was 16 years old. And previously to this, I had kind of a rough childhood, abusive father, very, very poor, constantly bullied in middle school. So just like the typical struggles of a child and a teenager growing up. And I remember sitting with my friend at her house in her living room in our junior year of high school, and out of nowhere, like literally out of nowhere, we're talking about one thing. She pulls out this book. I don't even know if it was on a bookshelf, if it was behind a couch, if it was under a cushion. I have no idea where it came from. But she pulled out this book, and it was The Secret, as we all know, like the Bible of the law of attraction that a lot of people start with. And she handed it to me and she said, "Hey, Catherine, I have this for you. This is how my grandpa has everything that he wants in his life, and he doesn't work for money. Money works for him. If you're interested, here it is." And I was like, first of all, as a 16-year-old, of course, I mean, anybody would light up. Like, yeah, I want money to work for me. Even though I didn't have a job back then, I didn't even understand how to make money. I just wanted money to work for me. And so I took it home and I read it cover to cover. And unlike some people that I have witnessed, throughout my journey, I would hand that book to other people, especially when I was in college, or if I saw someone struggle, I'm like, you need to read this book. And most people are skeptics and they go, oh, this isn't real. This is a bunch of bullshit. But for some reason, for me, it was like I was remembering knowledge and all of it made sense. And all of it would explain to me how I was consistently creating this reality of victimhood and how I kept attracting these situations in my life that just weren't serving me. And when I read it cover to cover, I was like, you know what? I was such an experimenter, like back then and still am. I was like, I need to try this. I need to see if it actually works. And so as any 16-year-old would, what did I choose to manifest? I chose to manifest good grades. And so I remember taking a test that day. Earlier that day, it was a Friday. I'll never forget. I took an anatomy and physiology test. And I knew that I just completely bombed that exam. Like, I just knew that I drew so many blanks that my mom was going to kill me, because my mom is this Soviet mother who constantly said, Catherine, you need to get good grades to go to a good college, to go to medical school, to become a doctor, and that's how you're going to be successful. So I was like, oh shit, I need to get straight A's, especially in my science classes. And so that day I was like, you know what, let me use these principles. Let me visualize the A. Let me visualize. And I went to a small school, like a small high school, and my teacher would literally call, like, this is how small the classroom is. She would literally call the parents if you got an A on a test. And so I envisioned that phone call coming through my mom. This never happened before, but I was like envisioning this phone call coming through. I felt the excitement. I saw it all. I applied all the principles. And guess what? Within literally 15 minutes, that's exactly what happened. And since that day, I was freaking sold. I was like, this is incredible. If I can create this, what else could I create? And of course, my journey had ups and downs. I'd like to say I mastered my life at 16 years old. I did not. I went through many, many ups and downs since then. But pretty much my obsession with the personal development world, my obsession with manifesting, my obsession with all of this stuff that I currently teach, re-sparked for me when I was living on my grandma's couch. When I first moved to LA, I had no money. I had just broken up with my boyfriend of 7 years because I realized that we're together out of comfort. It wasn't actually like a passionate, relationship. I didn't actually want to marry him. So I broke up with him. I told my parents I'm not going to medical school. I told my parents I'm moving back to Los Angeles because that's like my home city. And I basically started over. I had to start my life over. And at that time, I went from being an entrepreneur in an online business that I started in college to having to get a 9-to-5 job, making $15 an hour as a receptionist and living on my grandma's couch. And I was like, you know what? I really need to make a change. I know this stuff isn't bullshit. I know this stuff is real, but I have to show up in my life as if it is real. And so I dove back into all of the Napoleon Hill books. I dove back into all of the millionaire mindset books, and I just did everything in my power to show up in my life as if this is 100% real, that I have all the faith in the world for it. I have all the time and space for it. And throughout, and basically, long story short, I did this thing I called my 1-year experiment. And my 1-year experiment was basically this. From the time on my grandma's couch, I gave myself 1 year, and I realized, you know what? 1 year in the course of an entire lifetime, whatever. A lot of people waste a year of their lives. It's no big deal. I'm going to go on this experiment where I'm going to apply every single one of these principles. And I'm going to basically create this version of myself that's already living it. And I'm going to believe it without a shadow of a doubt. And if I succeed by the end of the year, then guess what? I can keep playing the game for the rest of my life. I can keep experimenting with it for the rest of my life. If I fail, though, what is the worst case scenario? I'm already living my worst case scenario. I'm already living on my grandma's couch. I can always come back to my grandma's couch. So long story short, I really applied these principles. They fucking work. I took on all the energetic, universal, just spiritual principles, made them a part of my life. And then that is what took me from, that's basically what inspired me to create Manifestation Babe. A lot of people think that I started this as a business. I really didn't. This was like a personal adventure for me. This was a place where I could share my story, a place where I could show people that it works. Basically, share my tips and tricks. Like my account used to be just this quote account where I would just share inspirational quotes, et cetera, et cetera. Long story short, by the end of the year, I went from making $9,000 that year in 2016 to making $600,000 the next year. And from then on, I've been able to double and triple my income every single year. So that's pretty much my journey. And that's like, it freaking works.
Amazing. People are asking, Rhonda Byrne is the one that wrote The Secret. So I started later than you. I was a big Napoleon Hill fan when I was young. And I only saw the pragmatic side of it, the materialization side. Money was an energy that was always in my life because that's where, without any training, that I put my attention and intention at all times on being rich so I could buy my mom a house and a car. And then I was manifesting, for whatever reason, in a quantum being that I am. I had this extraordinary power that I didn't know that I had. And so I go to a wealth management to be a consultant in Utah, and there was a gentleman named Lee Brower. And Lee Brower was on the Transformational Leadership Council, and he talked about gratitude, which I was born with in my family. And he had the attitude of gratitude rock in this movie, The Secret. And so he would give out the secret to everyone in Empowered Wealth in this program that I was consulting for. And I watched it the first time and said, this is bullshit. And this is what I said. And then my wife was like all into it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're such an idiot. She goes, you this movie and you don't even know it. Like, you do so many things in this movie. I'm like, I don't sit on a chair and dream about a Ferrari. I go and work my ass off to buy my Ferrari. And she goes, no, the reason you have a Ferrari isn't that you work your ass off. It's how focused, it's how much attention and intention you don't even know how intentional you are. You don't get it, you fool. And literally, here I am now, 14 years later. I sit on the Transformational Leadership Council with Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, right? Lisa Nichols, Reverend Beckwith, Lee Brower, everything, Joey, all the guys that are in that movie was formed by Jack Canfield, and they use the TLC to do that. And I sit there when I go to the events, or to twice a year, we have board meetings. I'm like, wow, this stuff really works. Now, one of my interesting friends that you'll know is John Assaraf, and John's my best friends, and he's an extraordinary guy. And when I met with him, as I went through my transformation, I started talking about how cool is the vision board that you have, and how cool is this, the law of attraction. Oh my God, John, he goes, I don't believe in the law of attraction. I was like, well, what are you talking about? How do you not believe? And he goes, I believe in the law of Goya and the law of getting off your ass. And what it was he was teaching me the blend of how the law of attraction works. And I think a lot of people sit at home broke, high, sick, on their mom's couch or their grandma's couch, dreaming about what they want. And the difference in your story is that you were already understanding manifestation on your grandma's couch, but you didn't take the last step, the law of Goya. And the minute you put it into action, like Einstein says, nothing happens till you move. You started moving with it, creating the voice for yourself to fill the expansion, the acceleration for yourself. And I think a lot of people that read The Secret have to know, number one, it's generalized for the masses so that they can motivate you to get started, but you got to get started.
Totally.
I love the game analogy because that's the way I live my life. I don't take it seriously, but I keep in the same way because I keep making more money, helping more people, and having more fun with my life.
Yeah. When I started teaching about the law of attraction, I noticed that there's a lot of missing pieces. I mean, so many missing pieces. There's a reason why it works for some people, it doesn't work for everyone. And it's not because the law itself doesn't work for everyone. It completely works for everyone, but it's just, there's all these missing pieces, and I was trying to figure out what they were. And one day I stumbled across the 12 laws of manifestation, and how there's more laws than just the law of attraction. And one of the most important ones, in fact, they're all equally important in my perspective, but one of the ones that I was like, okay, this is what makes the key difference between you just sitting on your couch and just visualizing and then waking up the next day and being like, it didn't happen, you know, and then you start over and like, of course, you're just going to keep creating more of that energy of, it didn't happen. Like, what is going to manifest from that energy, right? And the law is the law of action. And you have to have the law of action because we're talking about energetic principles here. We're talking about spiritual principles, which is what the law of attraction is. But in order for you, like, life is happening at a physical level, right? It's cool to visualize, you know, your Ferrari, but don't you want to actually drive the Ferrari? Don't you actually want to experience in the physical 3D tangible form? Of course, we all do, right? So you need to have the law of action because that pulls it out of the ether and transmutes it, transforms it, brings it, draws it into the physical form. Now, action can look different for different people. Depending on the manifestation, the action piece could look different. It could be as simple as just answering a phone call because someone is calling you with an opportunity, or it could be like you really have to put yourself out there and you really got to get yourself out there. And starting a business can be very challenging for a lot of people because it's like you are putting yourself out there for the world to see. And a lot of these like ego thoughts come up and you're like, oh my God, what if I'm not good enough? What if it doesn't work? And so it's a challenge that's presented in itself. And there's a lot of work, a lot of inner work that you have to do in order to let go of those limiting beliefs, in order to let go of those self-doubts and all that stuff. And action can be something like, I don't know, it's so broad, right? But you have to do something. And I like to look at it as, you know, some people just work hard to work hard because they believe that if they work hard enough, they can then justify everything that they can have with that deservedness of, I worked hard to get this, and so therefore I deserve it. And what I like to teach people is you deserve it no matter what, right? So you don't have to go out there and do busy work just to do busy work. It's about taking aligned, inspired action. So action's important, but make sure it's something that is in alignment with where you're going. It's something that feels inspiring to you. It is something where it's like, it's almost like a calling. Like you can't stop thinking about it. It's like this thing keeps popping up in front of you and you're like, I feel like I need to do this. I feel like I need to say yes to this. I feel like I need to call this person. I feel like I need to take this other route to work today. And just like really listening to that. And I think building your connection to your intuition is a huge piece of manifesting, because a lot of this wisdom, a lot of the missing pieces to manifestation come from like this direct communication of, hey, Catherine, you should do this. Hey, Catherine, you should go on this live stream. Hey, Catherine, you should talk about this. Hey, Catherine, you should do this. And through that, our intuition, our higher selves are constantly guiding us on the path that is leading us directly to what it is that we want. So though logically you might think, I don't know how that's going to get a Ferrari. I don't know how that's going to get me a successful business. I don't know how that's going to get me more money. But if you just listen, if you just trust and surrender to the next step by step of the unfoldment of the manifestation, you will inevitably get there. And one of my favorite affirmations is, my success is inevitable and I'm always on the right path. And that affirmation,
You're amazing. Sorry, got there. So it's so interesting because I, ended up writing a book called Connected to Goodness, which is manifest everything in your business and life. And there's two things that you said, those limiting beliefs, and I think they always stem from man-made constructs. Number one, time. I love the fact you're the first person I met that experimented with the law of attraction and gave yourself a limitation of a year, which I love. I actually love, because that's the blend of the pragmatic world with this spiritual energy that, and I believe in vibration. But I also think size is so interesting as a man-made construct. Time is obvious. It confuses everyone. But size, even we talk about you and I, who we're students of this. Years and years of studying. I read the Course in Miracles every day. I read Napoleon Hill every day. I still check in with a variety, but I still challenge myself with size. Give you simple examples. I was born on 111 at 111, no accident. And then
wow.
Diane Cannon, who's 85 years old, is one of my best friends. We share Laker seats together. So I told her that, you know, she's so beautiful at 85 and what a beautiful soul and her energy's amazing and wow. And she said, well, we only live between limitlessness and infinity for an instant. And I said, well, I'm going to live till I'm 111 at 111. I tell my kids. And she looked at me and she was so sad. And I was like, what's the matter, Diane? She goes, why do you limit yourself? In my mind, but in my mind, I had asked so big to live to 111 and die on my birthday on January 11th at 111 when I was born January 11th at 111, right? And here in my mind, I've been limiting myself. That is a perfect example of how we get in our own way. No matter how big we think we can dream or manifest, it's infinity and limitlessness, and it's just an instant that we're here. How do you deal with these man-made contracts, like people saying, well, if you can manifest anything, you know, why don't you manifest winning the lottery? You know, right? And it's, or tell me what horse is going to win this race. Let's make billions together. How do you answer that last question?
Yeah. So if I'm understanding correctly, your question is, how do I deal with the limit of size specifically?
Yes. Yeah, our
Yeah.
man-made constructs. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's definitely something I've had to struggle with, and I've experienced both the manifestation of my own limitations, where I will, like, let me just give you an example. When I got hired as at my receptionist job, I told my boss, who my boss was my mom's best friend, so I had like a little more lenience there. I could be straight up like, hey, I'm starting a business or trying to figure out this business. I'm not going to be here for very long. I told her I'm going to be here for a year. And after a year, you're going to have to find someone new, but I will help you out, because they were hiring at the time. They really needed someone that they was in my position before that I replaced. She was going off to college. So she was young like me. She's going off to college. And I was like, okay, I'll be here for a year. And guess what? To the exact day that I got hired is the day that my business like literally took off enough where I was making 3x what I was making as a receptionist. And I was like, you know what? Like, I think this is it. I'm out. I'm ready to retire from this job. I'm ready to go full time in my business. And I was always like thinking to myself, wait a second, why did I say a year? What if I said 6 months? What if I said 3 months? It was like exactly what I said. I really did limit myself, but also at the same time, like, did I limit myself? I don't know. We will never know, right? But it was very, very interesting how I said a year, and that is exactly what happened. In terms of size, which is why, bringing that back to why when I teach manifestation, I tell my students, like, don't put a time date, a timestamp on what it is that you desire. You want to leave it as open, as wide open as possible for all the possibilities, because how do you know that you're going to wake up tomorrow and literally there's going to be something that happens where literally your manifestation comes to you tomorrow? Like, why are you telling yourself it's going to take 10 years? Why are you telling yourself it's going to take 5 years? You could literally wake up tomorrow and download this brilliant idea, start a business with it, and become a billionaire, right? Like, you just never know. We so limit ourselves. In terms of size, you know, size is very challenging for a lot of people, because a lot of people think that making $1 million, manifesting $1 million is going to take a really long time, but they can all conceptualize manifesting $5. For some reason, $5, you're like, oh yeah, easy, can do it. But energetically, to the universe, there is no difference on an energetic level between $5 and $5 million. It is you who is limiting this. So a principle that I created in one of my courses is called the Ladder of Believability. And it's helping people take incremental steps towards really believing that they can have their biggest, most outrageous, wildest goals, desires, whatever it is. So let's say that you currently make 50K a year and you want to make 500K a year. That's like your big, outrageous goal, right? Well, right now, because you have never made that amount of money before, it's going to be very hard for you to believe it without a shadow of a doubt, because immediately, being a human being, you're like, oh, that's impossible. You know, my parents could never do it. This person says it's hard, blah, blah, blah. We start comparing it. We start comparing it either to our past or to the people that are on the sidelines, right? Like we take what has been possible for us in our past and what is possible for other people, and then use that to determine what's possible for us. But what's possible for us is absolutely limitless. And so I tell people, like, what is the next number that you can conceptualize that is a stretch for you, but you can still believe it? And so for some people, starting with 50K, they'll go, okay, 75K. Great, start there. And you're not limiting yourself by doing this, because energetically and vibrationally, you're getting behind a larger number. So you're building this muscle of removing those constructs. You're building the manifestation muscle. And so vibrationally, you start building yourself, building yourself. Guess what? When you see 75K in a year, you're going to be like, oh my God, this shit works. So what are you going to do next? You're going to be like 100K. And then it works again. And you're like, okay, I think I can do 200K. And you start building this ladder, and it's this ladder of believability. And eventually it's going to be, you're going to find yourself in a place where $500,000, easy, right? And guess what? When you believe it's easy, you're going to manifest that.
Yeah, and you are so right on it. Incredible insight. You have a podcast. You have your book, Unleash Your Inner Money Babe, at Manifestation Babe. But it's interesting because I teach people to reverse engineer things. So for me, when I told people I want to empower over 1 billion people to be happy, like literally people laughed at me, scoffed at me, made fun of me. People said, who do you think you are, Jesus? My own family's like, you're no Tony Robbins, Dave. Come on. This is all ego. I said, no, I've done the math. I just need to find 1,000 people like Catherine to empower 1,000 people, right?
Yeah.
1,000 times 1,000 is 1,000,000. So my ladder was the first 1,000, and then empowering them. And so using exponentiality and acceleration as well, which are incorporated in the math or technology of the universe, that everything expands. And when you realize that if you take time out of the equation and put faith in its place, that things happen more rapidly and accurately. You are an incredible soul, an incredible being. I can't wait to do more with you. Anytime people love you, you can see it there. Check out Catherine everywhere. Go ahead, give them where you want them to go, where the best place to start with your content is, and where they can reach out to you.
Yeah, I'll make it easy for you guys. Just tap on Manifestation Babe, give me a follow, and start there.
You got it. Well, thank you so much. Let's do it again. And you promised you would manifest your way out of here so I can get moving on.
Yes. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much for having me.
You're amazing. You're amazing. One of the best ever. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You guys loved it. I could tell by all the comments. How amazing is that? We have girl power today. I hope my 3 daughters are on here watching these incredible women who manifest what they desire for the betterment of all. I know Sarah Pendrick is here as well. Sarah, go ahead, comment real quick again. Thank you for your patience. But I could not just let her go. She's so amazing. I'm all fired up. I'm tingly. All right. Sarah's got here. We got unbelievable, iconic women creating a better world. This is Sarah. Where are you, my dear? Let me see if I can find you. Hopefully, there she is. Thank you for your patience. All right, the incredible founder of Girl Talk, from one wonderful soul to the next. Ladies out. Oh,
Hi. Good morning.
This is my power day.
I know. I just caught the end. What an awesome day.
Oh, the girl power, like I said. I just sit there.
Yeah.
My daughters are watching this.
I hope they are.
Because between you and Catherine, I think people are going to see the unbelievable potential that we all have. And more importantly than the potential that we have and the believability of that is, actually consistently and persistently pursuing it. And you are someone who has that wherewithal. You have consistently, regardless of the challenges, persistently, without quit, you have pursued, this potential. And, as the founder of Girl Talk, you've done so many great things. So you could give a little bit of background about Girl Talk and about yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me today. I'm so excited. You're the best. This is so fun. It's funny that I caught the end of your guys' chat because I feel like one of the things of possibility is making those big declarations. And my first one was actually, I'm going to serve 1 million women. So I had that same thing. I used to drive around LA. I moved here from Nashville, Tennessee. I don't know if anyone's watching is from the South. But I moved here to LA from Nashville, Tennessee, and everyone thought I was crazy. They said, you know that like big fish in a small pond saying? They're like, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to go to LA where no one's going to know you? You don't have any friends there. And I'm like, hey, I've had this big dream. I want to serve 1,000,000 women. Something's telling me to come to LA. I don't know why. I dropped out of my master's program, literally like spent so much time and money. But when you feel that call, I'm sure you guys talked about this, when you feel that call and you know you're meant for something, it really doesn't matter where you are. You're going to drop everything and go with that goal and that consistency and never give up. Like you just can't when you feel it. So I got to LA. I was driving around selling credit card machines downtown LA. I'm sure there's people on watching. Someone just said they moved to NYC. Yeah, something about the city. So I drove around doing anything, selling credit card machines until I realized, like, hey, I came here for a reason. I'm hustling. I think there's something where you can hustle, but you don't have to hustle. You can hustle with ease. So it's like when you're in your zone of genius, when you're doing what you want to do, when you're doing what you're meant to do, there's a difference. You could spend 24 hours a day working, but it doesn't feel like 24 hours a day working. I don't know if you have that.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, yeah, it's like, I wish there was more hours in the day because I love what I do so much. So I just started piecing together all my zones of genius, which was like connecting people. Obviously, I had a psychology background. I was really good at PR and marketing. So I took all these pieces, started just asking people like, hey, can I do your marketing? You don't have to pay me at first, or you can pay me like a small amount. I'll just do commission. And I built my PR and marketing agency. And then from there, I was like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm building multi-million-dollar brands for other people. Why wouldn't I do this for myself? So that's when I created Girl Talk. And then it's just been like crazy and ever expanding from there.
You know what's interesting is you talk about selling the credit card machines, and I compare it analogously to the pandemic. And the reason is that even when in 2008, when I lost everything, over $100 million, I like went from having anything I ever wanted into a rented house with rented furniture, a pregnant wife with 3 girls under 10. And I was just brokering deals, right? Even though I was running the most notable sports agency and had a salary, most people can't understand the context of that. But it was like the pandemic to me. It was like this period of time where I was learning. Even though the activity I got paid for wasn't necessarily something that I had passion for, I created the ability to find the light, the love, and the lessons in anything that I do. And I realized that when I graduated law school with the attention and intention of buying my mom a house and a car, growing up so poor and watching her, support us and teach us and empower us and have these incredible siblings, I just wanted to give back to her so bad that I remember lying in bed going, if I could buy my mom a house and a car and pay back my law loans, I added that in there. I go,
Put that in there.
I literally would shovel shit with my hands 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, and be blessed. Yeah. And at that moment, unconsciously, subconsciously, I realized that the secret to life wasn't what I was doing. It was finding the light, the love, and the lessons in what I was doing at all times, because there's just activity, and we put the value, conditions, and judgments on those. Speaking of which, specifically, historically, socially, economically, politically, we have put judgments and conditions on women, the most powerful beings that have ever existed. And when I say that, that's a learned trade coming from 5 boys and a girls, growing up to having 3 daughters of my own and an extraordinary, powerful wife. I started realizing that if, we are expressions of genius of the higher source, well, who then is creating life, right? Women are the expression of genius. They're the true expression of genius. And so we don't, because of our fear, we have tried to hold down the superior vibrating human being, in my opinion. And I say that humbly, with all respect. It's like, and the reason I say that is women are more humble than men. They are more connected to the great source. They don't allow the ego-based consciousness to get in the way as much as, and it may be biochemical because of testosterone, I don't know. But the feminine energy, let me put it that way, the feminine energy is a much higher vibrating energy than the masculine energy. And we're coming to more realization because of where we are evolved to and how people understand feminine and masculine energy, regardless of the embodiment that we're given. And you really I think, have raised the awareness of this feminine energy. And with Girl Talk, you allow people the freedom to liberate themselves.
Yeah.
And with your platform, that's what I really see. You know, where did that, you know, because coming from the credit card machines to starting Girl Talk, but there comes another elevation of, wait a second, I have this incredible ability to empower others as well and to liberate them with my light, to shine
Yeah.
their light. Where does that source of power come from?
You know, that's really powerful that you said that. I love that you have 3 daughters. They're so lucky to have you. Like, they are going to do such big things in the world having you behind them. So for me, that was so true, because that's kind of like what society puts on women. So it's interesting that you said biochemically, because you could call it our intuition, but maybe for some people that want to look at it more science-based, it could be biochemical. But for me, you know, and for women, you have such strong intuition that you just know certain things and they might not make sense. So I had that power, like most every woman does, to just know like my path. But then you have all those people like telling you like that doesn't happen for people like that, like us, or that's crazy, like that's too big of thinking. So I kind of fought that for a lot of my life. I had 3 brothers. I grew up in a family that didn't know how to handle girls. I love them. They did their best. I'm so grateful for those experiences. I'm grateful for, like you said, the lessons. I'm great. Do I want to go out and slaying credit card machines ever again? No. But was it the best, like one of the best times of my life? Yes, because I learned so much about myself. I learned to trust that intuition. I also got to meet with so many small business owners that either like moved to America or moved from small towns and really wanted to have that dream. And I got to really connect with them on what they truly want and how they got there, which made me a better business person, which allowed me to tap into my intuition. And now for everyone that's watching, and anyone can do this, it's like that first sign that you get, we always know the answer, but we always complicate it, right? We're like, well, that doesn't make sense. Or like, I don't have the person on my team to do that. It's like, don't complicate things. You just got your answer the first time. And so I really tap into that and trust my first answer.
That's amazing. Last thing, you remind me of a young Sharon Lecter, who's one of my mentors, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. She's an amazing woman.
Yeah.
And you have a 5-day challenge that Make Money Moves. It starts, I think, this Monday.
Yeah, this Monday.
And so one of the cool things is I keep teaching my daughters and other women who I mentor, and I have interns, is that don't be afraid of your worth. Right?
Yeah.
There's an energy, a quantum energy, an historic energy that exists that you're not worth, right? And we put that into a matter of energy and of resistance to money. That, oh no, I'm here to support. I'm here to raise children. No. You're here to receive.
Yep.
Not just give.
Yep.
Right? Receive so you can give. Right?
Yeah,
That was the only lesson.
Yeah, the more you receive, the more you're able to give, the more will come to you.
And that's what you teach people. And so give us a bit of insight on the 5-day challenge that you're doing, how money moves and the energy of money, and how you can teach people to make money move in the right direction.
Yeah, so money is an energy, and I love that you said that, you know, charging what we're worth. And because if we go into these things, like let's say coaches, they're not charging what they're worth, you're not gonna be able to show up and serve because it's not an equal energy exchange. I learned that early on. My first event, which I'm also like grateful and proud of myself for doing this, my first event, I gave all the proceeds away to charity. And I kept doing that, and I was going to different cities every 6 months, but then I burned out. So when you're burnt out and you're not getting paid what you're worth, you can't do the work that you're here, that God, the universe has you here to do. So you get to make as much money as possible so that you can have freedom. Freedom is the most important thing for yourself, for your family, for the rest of the world. And so we really get to tap into those beliefs that held you back from doing that, start getting you into the flow and the energy of money. And then my favorite thing, which is my zone of genius, is taking out other people's zones of genius and teaching them how to make money with it. So I'm like, hey, how can I do this for everyone? Because everyone can't be a part of my programs or coaching. I'm like, I'm going to do it for free for 5 days.
That's awesome. And they just go to Sarah Pendrick to join you?
Yeah, just come send me a message or a DM on my Instagram.
You're amazing. Let's do this again.
Yes.
I love the blend. Anyone that blends the pragmatic world with the energy and spiritual world and understands how we need to receive, especially as women, everyone out there, we are not equal. We are different and better. I think it's so important. Like, people are different, and it
Yeah.
doesn't matter how tall you are, what color you are, what sex or energies you carry. What we want to do is appreciate the differences. Let's stop all trying to be the same, because we're not the same, which means we're not equal.
Yes.
We're all different, and we're all better. And we need to find the strengths within each person. And whether we're men, women, or whatever we consider ourselves, let's appreciate each other and be kind to each other. And that's what I think, by blending that money, if you make more money, you can help more people and you can be happier. And I know both of us believe in that. And I am a huge fan of yours. I'm going to send my girls to your 5-day challenge, by the way.
Oh, I love it. I adore you. You're the best. Thank you. Let's do this again. I'll be excited when we can hang out in person.
Absolutely. I got 2 new best friends today. You and Kathleen, all 3 of us have to get together.
How awesome.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
If you can exit out, they've taken away my exit ability. What a wonderful woman. Check her out at Sarah Kendrick. Go ahead. Do the 5-day challenge. Make money moves. Look, tomorrow, byoq, bring your own questions. I'll bring the answers. If you want my book on manifestation, just email me. It's free. David@dmeltzer.com. Any exercises and guides I have free. Just email me, david@dmeltzer.com, or join my text community, which all these wonderful people are part of. 949-298-2905. 949-298-2905. It's all pinned below. Happy to answer any questions. Bring them tomorrow about the law of Goyle, the law of attraction, the law of intention, the law of attention. All of these things. Learn the mathematical equation of luck. I promise you, this stuff works. I will allow you to unlimit yourself, to live between infinity and limitlessness. In an instant of a second, your life will change. Thank you, everybody. Remember, most importantly, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. I will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, byoq. Go ahead, hit me up with the questions. If you miss it, just go to Spotify or Entrepreneur under the playbook. Download the playbook. You get all my old trainings. Thank you so much. Take care.